Hi, I'm Peggy, and I'm here with Michael, and we are going to unbox my new FlexiTouch.
Yes, very exciting.
So I'm really excited, and anybody that knows me should be really surprised that I didn't open this before it got here. So kudos to me for actually waiting for the unboxing. So I'm literally going to do this. Make sure I don't make Michael too nervous with a weapon in my hand. All right, guys, ready? Let's see what comes in this box.
Yeah.
All right. Lots of cardboard.
So yeah, let's squeeze that together there.
Look.
There you go.
All right. So we have our instructions. Probably has my address on that. I shouldn't have. Anyway, okay, so I'm going to put this over to the side. Now, what is that DVD that they sent?
So it's instructions on basically how to use the unit, what all the pieces are. So we always provide all patients with paper instructions as well as DVD.
Perfect. And somebody comes out for instruction?
Correct, yeah. So the standard process is we typically go to the patient's home, take the measurements to make sure we get the correct size ordered. Once a patient has received their device, we go out to the home again to set it up for them, as well as answering the last minute questions.
And how many patients make you do this on video?
None. Actually, a couple, but not like this.
Okay, so this is
the trunk piece.
the trunk piece. All right, and we're gonna actually put this on in a minute, but we'll.
Yeah. And to briefly explain all this apparatus, basically it is a lymphedema pump. And what it is going to do is simulate manual lymphatic drainage.
Now, not only is this a lymphedema pump, but it is the only proven results for lymphedema. Am I correct on that? The only pump that really has the proven results?
It is the most clinically researched device out on the market. It does have the strongest evidence for its effectiveness. What makes this, again, so unique and so effective is the fact that it does automate that manual lymphatic drainage process. Unlike other pumps where they are more of just a hard hold and squeeze static pressure, this one actually does proximal clearing first, which we all know is essential to moving lymphatic fluid.
So I have always done self-manual lymph drainage massages, and I start with clearing the abdomen and then clearing the chest and, going, So this is kind of the only pump that kind of does that and does it in a rhythm. Is that what I'm to understand? Yes,
that is correct. So what is important when we are moving lymphatic fluid, because it does work on both a negative and a positive pressure. So again, as we all know, the lymphatics are throughout our bodies. However, we only have a few areas where that fluid is processed. And you're right, in our hip area, we call the inguinals, are very essential to moving the lymph fluid in our lower extremity. And so what this is going to do is help stimulate those. And I like to use the analogy of a car wreck, right? We have an accident that's causing this blockage of everything below. So in order to get all those cars to get moving in our legs, we got to get the accident cleared out first.
Right, exactly. Get that cleared out so the fluids have somewhere to go.
Correct. Yeah.
So another bonus point for me as a female business owner, this company was founded by a woman.
It was. Yes, it was. And she is very proud of that. We have some great videos on the history of the company. We just turned 25
years old. I saw that. And so that's really exciting. Well, let's get started. I'm going to go change into some yoga pants, and we're going to set this up, and we'll check it out.
Okay, sounds
awesome.
Good. Thanks.
So we are back, and Michael has fitted me, and I have the left leg and the torso on.
Correct.
So we're going to start.
Yeah.
So one of the things you said was important is, to be elevated. And normally I won't be doing this on this couch. I'll be in bed, so it'll be a little more comfortable than the way I am now. But it's okay to be elevated like a 45-degree angle in your torso as well, because that helps things move.
Correct, yeah. Again, I do recommend, put some pillows underneath the leg. Get yourself as comfortable as possible. We want this to be an enjoyable experience, right? You're getting your daily massage.
Right, and this is in lieu of me having to do a manual lymphatic massage.
Absolutely, that is correct.
And it's going to be more effective because going in to get a manual lymphatic massage is always great, but when you do it on yourself, it's never as effective as when someone else does it. Or
well, yeah, when you have to do it
because you're like,
you're getting in a funky position, you're kind of doing yoga, right?
Yeah.
Another analogy, again, I love analogies, is this. I think of this as a dishwasher. So it's just automating that process for us. Right?
Exactly.
It's like, why wash the dishes by hand when you can have the dishwasher?
Exactly. And now I can watch TV, be on the internet, do whatever I need to do instead of worrying about this.
Yeah, so a full treatment is 60 minutes. So the joke I like to use is, it's one episode of Jeopardy and a Wheel of Fortune. And
there you go.
Yeah, exactly. So really easy. There's just 2 buttons on here, on and off, and then the start and pause to get it started. And we will begin.
Oh, wow. Wow. So it's starting with the core to empty that out to give the fluids in my leg somewhere to go when it starts on the leg.
Yes, let's call this the activation zone again, because that is where a majority of the lymph nodes are located at that are going to be processing the fluid. The body processes the fluid in 2 ways. The first way is about 25% of it is reabsorbed back into the body. The other 75% is actually comes out through urination, which is actually a good thing. So patients at first, especially when they have a lot of the swelling, will say, hey, I'm having to use the restroom
I'm
more.
living in the bathroom.
And that's a good thing, though.
The joke at my house is that Peggy pisses her life away.
It's funny.
Yeah. But it's because it is when you're swollen and you have, you're holding all this, and then you finally get to a point where it's moving, you live in the bathroom. So yeah. But that's good. That's a good thing.
How does it feel right now?
It feels great.
Yeah.
I'm getting a booty massage.
Yeah. As you know, with the manual lymphatic drainage massage, it's very light. It's literally just feels like a soft stretching and pulling of the skin. Contrary to a popular belief back in the 80s and earlier, it was like a very hard pressure is better. What they found out is that was actually collapsing the lymphatic capillaries and not allowing proper absorption of those proteins.
Now, years ago, one of my lymphedema therapists had a pump, and this was back when my leg was really big before I kind of had it semi under control. But she put me on the pump, and I remember thinking, oh, this is miserable. I will never do this. And last year at the Learn 5K out at Santa Monica, one of your guys, Patrick, was there with all of this, and he was wearing the headpiece. And so I was interviewing people, and I went over and I was like, what in the world is this? And he was telling me, and I was like, oh, so this isn't just a pump that just squeezes and lets go. Each individual, I don't know if they can see it on the camera, but like it's the inflating and deflating like at different times, and that's happening all around. And so it's actually massaging and moving things, not just squeezing and letting go, but it's actually massaging. So that's I'm super excited. Super excited.
Yeah, as you can tell, just a very easy wave-like kind of motion. And that's what we have found out to be most effective. It's probably a bad angle to see him right here, but once it gets to the leg, we'll probably be able to see
a little bit more. Now this is pulling, like it's pulling my ankle over. Maybe can we readjust that just a little bit? Thank you.
Let's get you.
So you're not going to be here every day to set me up? Is that what you're saying?
Unfortunately not. I have to help as many patients out as I can and educate and engage as many clinicians as possible as well.
Now, obviously, I'll cut in and out of this because, this is a process. But the one thing I wanted to make sure that I did say on camera is insurance companies, it's tough to get anything, when you have lymphedema, it's tough to get anything approved. But the one thing I wanted to point out is that you have a team devoted to helping people figure this out. One way or the other, they are devoted to helping, and they're going to do everything they can, everything in their power they can to help. And that's something amazing, because a lot of times when you have lymphedema, you kind of feel like you're on your own. You got to educate your doctor. You got to beg. You got to talk. You got to, So it's nice to have somebody that's like, hey, I got this.
Yeah. One thing I love working about the company is exactly like you said. We have a whole team from A to Z, from getting the verification of your benefits done, down to getting the product shipped and getting trainers out to train the patients. We even have an appeals team. We have a Medicare specialist team. It really is all hands on deck, and like as you mentioned, it sometimes does require that extra effort to getting these approved. Yeah.
And but the point is that they do take the effort. They don't just leave you on your own and say, oh well,
Yeah.
sorry.
No.
So that's
it's
something that I wanted to really point out about this company.
Yeah, our mission statement is to help people live better at home, on a daily basis. We want to get as many people, the help that they need. And the biggest issue we have had, though, is that this disease is very misunderstood and underdiagnosed.
Exactly.
And so many clinicians will only get a few, maybe half a chapter, 15 to 20 minutes in medical school, and they move on to the next topic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that the national average is like you said, like 15 minutes in medical school.
Yeah.
And it's not it's frustrating as a patient, especially realizing that this affects so many people, and yet it's so undiagnosed and not understood. I've had lymphedema for almost 22 years. In May it'll be 22 years, and it was 8 years undiagnosed. And of course, they do crazy things to you and they don't know what's going on, and some of it made it worse. So, but yeah, it's now starting here.
So yeah, it's gonna
Or
slowly.
is this still part of the trunk?
Yeah.
So then when the leg starts, it'll start at the toe and work up?
Correct. So it's gonna do the core piece, then the thigh, then your calf, then the foot, and then all of it
the way
together.
together.
And that's
Okay.
not gonna happen until about halfway.
Right, okay, all right. Well, it's not painful. It's actually very soothing. It's very, very comfortable.
Vast majority of my patients, they tell me they look forward to getting their treatment in every evening. It's their moment of relaxation for them.
Right, and that's the other thing I was going to ask you. Do a lot of your patients do this in the evening or in the morning? Just simply the bathroom break thing is.
Yeah, that's the main question I probably do get
Yeah.
with patients is when is the best time to use it? When should I do my treatment? And there is no best answer for that. My answer to all my patients is whatever works best for you.
Whatever works for you. Because that means getting up. I already do. I have a morning routine where I, do my leg in the morning anyway. So this is going to be a few minutes longer, but it's not, I don't think it's going to interrupt my. But a lot of people get up and shower, put their garment on, and they're out the door. So it's, it has to be what works for them.
Exactly. Some patients like to do in the morning because it helps kind of loosen them up, get them ready for the day. Other patients, and it actually usually has to do with what extremity we're treating, because we do head to toe.
Right.
As you can imagine, the lower extremity, most patients are the worst in the evenings.
Yeah.
That's because they've been sitting or standing all day. The fluid's just building up. After you wake up first thing in the morning, you've been laying in bed, so it's not going to be as swollen as you would in the evening.
So that kind of helps take the swelling out so that you can sleep better.
Yes.
In between few breaks.
A lot of my patients love the therapy so much that it's really comforting and, like I said, relaxing, that they will fall asleep with the device on. It does automatically shut off, so you don't have to worry about it overworking you or anything like that. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, everything's on a timer and all automated.
Yep.
That's cool.
Let's see here. So controller setup, review grounded outlet requirement. Obviously, you need power to connect to the power on-off switch. Verify garment size is correct. Looks like we're good there. Review of treatment plan. So again, once a day. I do have patients that like the garment and the therapy so much that they will do it twice a day. That's totally fine too.
Okay.
We have done some research where we noticed just getting one treatment in a day does kind of have a lasting effect.
Okay.
So waking up, stimulating those lymph nodes will help throughout the day. Again, the pressure, it is set to normal. A lot of patients will like, oh, what if I want it higher? Again, the only time we would do a higher pressure is if a patient has fibrosis, which is like a thickening, hardening of the skin to help break that down. But most
Does
patients,
the normal help break up the fibrosis?
It will as well.
I have a lot of fibrotic tissue on my ankle.
Okay.
But I don't think that I would need more pressure than this. This feels like it's
just looking at your legs right now, I think you'll be totally fine with the normal pressure. Yeah, it's you'd be surprised at how far along patients have gotten with their lymphedema have progressed until they get the treatment they need. where they're literally, again, weeping from their skin or have active open wounds.
Right.
Yeah. So far, you've been great about.
The one thing I wanted to point out as well that we didn't talk about is when you care for your lymphedema, it reduces the chances of cellulitis infections by like a bazillion%.
Yeah.
Not really a bazillion, but I think it was like 75% is the studies.
Yeah, so the largest study that we ever did conduct was in the Journal of American Medical Association Dermatology, where they had over 700 patients in this study. And what they did is they looked at patients 12 months prior and 12 months after receiving the FlexiTouch. Half were cancer-related lymphedema patients, and the other half were non-cancer. In our non-cancer related lymphedema patients, we saw a reduction 79% in bouts of cellulitis and 75% with cancer patients.
So a little over 9 years ago, I was having cellulitis infections over and over, like every 6 to 10 weeks. Like I would get off antibiotics and a week later get another infection.
Sure.
So I was, in a really bad way. And so when I read that, I was like, because I know, I've been really fortunate and able to do a lot of things and get my life back with a lot of self-care. But a lot of people aren't in that position. And, so it's something that's going to, because cellulitis is life-threatening.
Yeah.
I mean, I ended up, because I was on so many antibiotics, I ended up getting C. diff, which again, life-threatening. So, it's really serious. People think, oh, well, it's just a big swollen leg. No, these are complications from lymphedema are life-threatening over and over and over. So this is something that can help save someone's life. Really reduce the chances of cellulitis.
Yes, cellulitis is super serious. It requires a patient to stay in the hospital.
Yeah.
Knock
on wood. It's been over 9 years.
Yeah, and they have to be get onto antibiotics.
Yeah.
And so that is primarily the reason why insurance companies do love this machine, is because if they can reduce one bout of cellulitis,
exactly,
it really does pay off.
It pays for itself.
Exactly.
Yeah, immediately. So okay, I just wanted to make sure I got that said because that's so important. I'll let you go back to your.
Yeah, now I'm just kind of going through here, making sure we're talking about everything. If the device does get dirty, soiled, anything like that, just a simple washcloth, disinfectant wipe. No reason, of course, because it's in contact with your skin, heavy chemicals. I have had patients put it in the washing machine. Don't advise that as well. You hear of everything.
No.
But yeah, just simple.
Yeah.
If at any point you think you need to change sizes, something happens to the garment, your cat punctures a hole in it, just let us know. We will replace it for you up to 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah. Again, I just want to reiterate the positioning. If you can elevate your leg, great, not necessary, but at least being at a 45-degree or more angle.
Okay.
Because again, we're promoting circulation.
Right.
So we want to try to keep the body as open as possible.
Right.
I mean, ideally, if I could hang you by your toes, that would be the
That
best
would be
ideal.
ideal.
But that's not practical. What you're wearing today is great. So if lightweight, loose-fitting clothing, what we don't want is anything elastic that's going to cuff. Because again, we're going to be moving that fluid, and if we have something that's going to restrict it, that's not going to do us any good. So yeah, just no jeans or heavy pajamas, anything like that. How does it feel right there in the leg?
It feels really good. I tend to have a lot of pain in my leg.
And you were talking lower extremity, right? Like where your ankle meets the calf area?
Yeah, and this is actually just like, what do you mean only an hour?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I have some patients that they'll do a couple sessions, just on a Saturday, Sunday, they got some extra time.
I'm hoping that the camera's picking up this. Maybe I can zoom in on it in the after editing. But how it's, starting it and working its way up.
You mentioned seeing a pump or wearing a pump before. What was your experience with that one? How high up did it go?
I think it went up to here. It was just like, it went up to maybe like here, and it was,
I wouldn't even know what brand it was. It was, 15 years ago. And it just, I think it's what they use in the hospital when, people are in bed rest just to move circulation. It just, it pumps up and goes down, and pumps up and goes down. But I just found it really, and it could have been, 15 years ago I was in a lot different situation with my leg than I am now. My leg was about 3 times bigger than my right leg, and it was, was having a lot of issues with a lot of health things. So
Yeah. One thing I always do like to mention to my patients is don't feel like this pump is replacing anything.
right,
As we know, to manage lymphedema, it is kind of an all hands on deck.
right,
Whether that be elevating your legs at night, doing the exercises. What's important about the exercises and still being able to walk and move around is we all know the heart as the primary organ, right, for moving the circulation in our
Right.
bodies. But what we actually call the heart of the lower body is our calf muscle. Every time your calf muscle contracts, it actually does some venous return.
Right.
It does move up some of that fluid. We call that the calf muscle pump.
yeah. And I always do deep breathing while I'm doing massages, and I have a machine that I used to lay on called a chi machine. But deep breathing actually moves and helps move lymphatic fluids. So I mean, there's and compression. I wear my compression every day, all day long. I have a Juzo custom fit that goes from a toe cap down to here, and you. Unfortunately, this is something that I always like to say that I have lymphedema. Lymphedema doesn't have me, but the reality is it does. Every decision I make during the day relates to how is this going to affect my leg? Is this
Sure.
going to? Oh wow, this is awesome. By the way, it just started on my foot.
A lot of the CLTs or certified lymphedema therapists I do work with, the approach they like to use to get the most optimal results is what we call maintain and drain. What I mean by that is using the pump to drain, get that fluid out, get down in size, and as soon as you're done with the FlexiTouch treatment, put on your compression. That's going to help maintain all that progress. So
Exactly.
in conjunction, it's one of the best and most effective ways to getting that swelling down.
Right.
Yeah, my favorite part's always the foot.
Yeah, I didn't expect it to feel that good. I was like,
So I do a lot of long distance running, and after a big race or hard training, yeah, I have one at home. One at my demo unit, I'll strap on me, and I'm like,
Yeah,
kick back in her car, just like one of my patients.
My daughter is a runner, and I can see her coming to visit and checking this out.
Actually, and I might send it to you later, but I just, there was an article that was published in December, and it talked about how most therapists and PTs now are rethinking the whole theory behind ice. Right? You know how a lot of athletes after training soreness, they will use ice. Well, yes, that will help minimize the amount of swelling, right? Because it's just kind of it's hardening everything up right there. It's making it very cold. But it's not addressing that there's still all that toxins and everything else that is sitting there.
Right, because lymph fluids actually gel when it's cold. That's why people wake up in a cold morning stiff and sore. It's the lymph fluids that gel. So I never thought of that putting ice on it would kind of gel up and slow the movement of lymphatic fluids.
Sure.
That's
And so, yeah, the lymphatic fluid, the lymphatic system is very important for various reasons. It removes toxins from the body, provides nutrition to the tissues, and so activating the lymphatic system is now what they're kind of seeing as maybe some of the best ways to treat acute recovery in athletes and things like that.
Well, that's really cool.
I have a colleague up in Oregon. She was a professional soccer player, and to my understanding, the female Portland soccer team, professional team, all have FlexiTouches.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so.
They're like that makes sense because that's what your lymphatic fluids do is they move things to the parts of your body that needs whether it's the red blood cells or the whatever needs to be moved in and out.
The lactic acid that builds up.
Yeah.
Muscle soreness. Yeah.
Well, that's pretty cool.
So I remember you telling me that's where you had the most fibrosis, right?
Yeah.
Around here.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It's actually feels really good. And my toes and my upper, like right in front of my toes, that part of my foot swells and my toes swell, and I'm like shocked how much compression I'm feeling and how much massage I'm feeling on that part of my foot.
Yeah, the foot is one of the main spots of some patients will see the swelling at. Some patients
Yeah.
will literally just get what we call
Yeah.
the buffalo bump.
Yeah, that's.
Right on top, the dorsal swelling.
I'm amazed at this right now. It feels good. I've been having a lot of pain. I've been dealing with a lot of pain, and this is just like really relaxing, if nothing else. But I'm sure it's working. I shouldn't say if nothing else, because I know it's working. But I'm like, wow, this just the massage itself is awesome.
My most compliant patients get to a point where they don't have to use it every day.
Yeah.
And I think that's always a good goal, is let's get to a point where, yeah, we only need to strap on the FlexiTouch when, you know, you're getting that tightness, heaviness feeling. You start to notice just some of those old symptoms that you're used to.
Because when you do have your lymphedema under control, it's like a sponge. Like you can feel the tightness before you see the swelling.
Sure.
You can feel, oh, there's something going on here before it actually, oh wow, now I'm 5 centimeters bigger than I was or whatever.
Right. And that's another thing I always try to tell physicians is, even though sometimes you can't see it, or even if you start to see it, it's kind of like an iceberg, right?
Yeah.
You're only seeing the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
It's everything that's underneath as well that you're not seeing, that's causing the heaviness, their lack of range of motion,
Right.
and so forth.
Some doctors are very open to learning, and some doctors are very shut off and say, last year I had a doctor tell me that they had seen pictures of lymphedema, and what I had was not lymphedema.
Yeah.
And I was like, "You've seen pictures?"
Yeah, well, if you go into Google, right, and just type lymphedema, what you see is just the extreme severe cases of what we call like elephantiasis,
Right.
which is
Right.
chronic swelling. It's it's stage 3. It's very severe, and as we all know, it comes in different stages, right?
Well, and even what my leg looks like now and what my leg looked like 9 years ago, it doesn't mean that I shouldn't be treated because I'm taking care of myself. So therefore I shouldn't be treated and help maintain.
Yeah.
I shouldn't have to let it get that bad again before I can get help, because
Yeah.
we're talking about years of my life.
Sure. Yeah.
Once it gets that bad, it doesn't get better overnight, and so maintaining and taking care of yourself is so important.
Yeah. Lymphedema has been known to affect people or be the cause for people in various ways, even around the world. In Africa, it's usually caused by a certain mosquito and disease that triggers lymphedema. Here in the United States, it could be primary or secondary lymphedema. When we're talking primary, some people get it at a very early age, right, in their adolescence. Some get what we call lymphedema tarda, so they have it, but there just hasn't affected them yet, and it does later. It's a later onset in life. Furthermore, majority of patients that get secondary lymphedema is through either obesity, cancer history, or venous insufficiency, or it could be even a combination of those things as well. So again, it affects people differently, and sometimes they're seeing certain doctors that aren't specializing, let's say like venous insufficiency, right? And they're not coinciding that with a venous insufficiency as well.
Right.
I'm sorry, lymphatic
Right.
insufficiency.
Yeah, so because I had a flare-up last May, I went to a vascular surgeon, and they did find some venous insufficiency that was not there 15 years ago, because I was tested for that after around the same time of being diagnosed with lymphedema. And so but your body changes, so definitely we took care of that, because we don't want that to contribute to all the hard work I've done we don't want that contributing and making things worse. So, yeah, it's just, this is great. 10 things I want my primary doctor to know about lymphedema, because, you know, physicians aren't always trained, and,
Sure.
you know.
Yeah, we've made a lot of strides, at least within the vascular realm. You may have noticed, I don't know how familiar you are with some of their big associations, but they've just started entering the word lymphatics or lymphedema as part of their association name.
Right.
One term that just has been presented within the past 10 years is what we call phlebo lymphedema, and that is the lymphedema that coincides with a venous insufficiency. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's really amazing it's amazing how much information's out there now versus 15 years ago.
Right. Well, it all comes with the technology too.
Yeah.
So in 2010, the Starling principle, which was a principle that was originally created in the 1890s, talked about how the interstitial fluid is brought back into the body. In 2010, they discovered this endothelial sheath that lines the veins called the glycocalyx. Starting to get really scientific here. But what they notice is that membrane, that sheath, actually blocks the reabsorption of that fluid into the veins, because they thought the veins used to bring up that fluid. Due to that, we now know that nearly 100% of that fluid is brought up by the lymphatic system. And the lymphatic system, the little capillaries are attached to the skin. It's very superficial. And most patients, the little chambers that are connected on those aren't properly opening up to absorb that fluid. So that's why, again, the soft stretching and pulling the skin is what's helping open up those the things to basically collect those proteins.
Right.
That's in the lymphatic fluid. Yeah.
That's
It's pretty technical, I know.
well, it's good that they're studying this, and that they're finding things out, and that they're, you know, doing the research. And
yeah, it's come a long way.
because 15 years ago there was, you Googled lymphedema and you might find, you know, 2 or 3 pictures of elephantitis, and that was about it.
Yeah.
There was no information, there was no real thing out there. And now, you know, I tell people that have been recently diagnosed with lymphedema, yeah, it sucks, and yeah, there's not a lot of information out there, but there's so much more than there was.
Yeah.
So, you know, it is out there.
It's a snowball. We just had to get that snowball going, get it rolling.
Get it rolling. Yeah, so now it's starting at the bottom and going all the way up.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, so I have to tell you what my thoughts are on the FlexiTouch. So clearly Michael was here, we did the unboxing, had great conversation, he showed me how to use it. Now I'm not gonna lie, it's a little bit bulky and awkward, and it's gonna take some getting used to being able to put it on and take it off by myself, but I will be able to do this. But this is what I wanna tell you. So once Michael left, you know, I took off the FlexiTouch. Once it, you know, went to the done after the 60 minutes, I did the torso on my left leg. Then I was carrying everything upstairs because I was going to put it all away in its new home where it will live. And I was grabbing my Juzo compression garment because, you know, I'm done with my my pump, so I'm going to put my compression garment on. And I looked down at my leg and I'm like, what? No way. Because I'll be honest with you, I didn't have any expectations of seeing immediate results. I guess that's a question I didn't ask. I just assumed that it would take a few days or maybe even a couple of weeks. So I measured this morning before Michael got here, before I did use the FlexiTouch, thinking that in 2 weeks I would measure again and, you know, tell you guys my results. Okay, I'm totally blown away because I lost anywhere from 2 to 4 centimeters throughout my foot and my abdomen. So around my abdomen, which is my major problem, I wasn't able to do a manual lymph drainage massage. I don't know how to. I don't have tricks for my abdomen, and you know, my leg, I was able to get it kind of back down, but my abdomen, I lost 4 centimeters
in one use of the FlexiTouch. So I was like, yay! And 2 centimeters around my ankle, almost 3 centimeters, just under 3 centimeters above my knee. And so I'm just like super, super excited that I actually saw results today. So anyway, that's my excited news. So I believe this was an amazing unboxing and first use of the FlexiTouch. I will keep in touch with you guys and let you know how it is using it day to day and what my progress is with it. But as of right now, I am stoked. So anyway, I wanted to just give you an update on that. Thanks for spending the time watching this. I know we did a lot of chatting, but I think we covered a lot of really cool things just in conversation about lymphedema and care for lymphedema. So I hope you guys enjoyed that, and feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel so you don't miss any of my awesome videos. Okay, I'll see you guys soon.
What other questions? Maybe.
Well, see, I'm a researcher, so I'm trying to, I watched several of you guys have amazing videos, by the way. A lot of companies don't have very, very good videos out there.
Really?
Yeah, I think you guys have some really solid videos out there.